my name is Beth and I am the Cellarmaster and Assistant Winemaker at the Steven Kent Winery. I am here to talk about elements, which is one of my favorite things to create. I really love this series of wine that we do. The whole point of these wines is to take exactly the same base wine and to see what vessels do as far as how they change the wine, how they change the flavor, how they change the structure. This year in 2024 vintage, which we're about to release this weekend, we got to work with a wonderful newer vineyard called Morganson Family Vineyard. This wine, to me, versus some of the other vineyards in Livermore, is a little bit richer, a little bit rounder, a little bit darker fruited than some of the other ones, and definitely color-wise, there's a little bit more color in this one. So coming through elements, we have stainless steel, we have rock, we have wood, and we have elements, which is a blend of all three. I'm going to talk a little bit about the differences that we see, both from, I never want to tell people what they should and shouldn't be tasting, because that's a very personal thing, that people taste things differently, and that's how it should be with wine. We're all going to pull different flavors and different things that we find in these wines, but generally speaking, from a winemaking perspective, steel is something that if you think about a hot summer day and you want a red that's a little bit chilled and it's just going to be fresh and delicious and fruit forward and acid driven, steel is that type of wine. And I know it's not summer, it feels like the middle of summer right now here in California because it's beautiful, but what I love about that wine is its purity of fruit. It's very much Cab Franc. You can't put your nose in that glass and not think that it's Cab Franc. And what I love about what steel offers for that is that it really does showcase there's nothing interfering with this wine. This is purely Cab Franc. There's no oxygen that gets in, there's no wood flavors or minerality that we can get from some of these other vessels. So steel is one of my favorites just because if I want something that's just crisp and delicious and fantastic, that's the wine I'm going for. Rock has consistently been my favorite just because I think that it's very unique and it reminds me of the Loire Valley a little bit more. It has a minerality to it and a kind of a roundness to it and still keeps that purity of fruit, but has a little bit interesting, a little bit more of an age to it that you don't get in the steel. The steel is very zippy, very, like I said, acid driven, very tart. And rock, to me, I find that it darkens the fruit out a little bit, just creates something that's really delicious. Again, I think that wine to me is both mouth-watering and rich, which is how I feel about rock. Wood is exactly what we're all expecting. And what's really fascinating is you taste wood and it's, yes, this tastes like a California Cabernet Franc. It has a little bit of a creaminess to it that comes from that wood. Even though it's neutral wood that we used, there's still something about that micro locks, and even if a barrel is neutral, you're still gonna get a little bit of flavor from it. So to me, there's a little bit of a creaminess to that adds to this complexity. There's a reason why we age in wood. It does something really nice to the wine. It really creates something that's very complex and very interesting and takes all of those different aspects, whether it's acidity or red fruit or black fruit or all of that stuff, and kind of just rounds it all off and makes it very cohesive. And then elements. One of my favorite things about elements is asking people what they can pick out from it, because it is exactly a third of each of the previous three wines, but it's something totally different. And I like to think of it almost as there's a reason why you age in different vessels. There's a reason why you use sometimes different yeast, and winemaking is all about creating something that's beautiful and complex and interesting, and having these three vessels separately and seeing what they bring to the table as far as structure and taste, and then tasting them all together, you have an aha moment of, wow, there's a reason why this is, to me, a little more interesting than all the rest of them, because I can taste all the rest of them in it. And that's the point of this experiment. So I hope you enjoy it. We look forward to seeing some of you this weekend as we debut this set of wines. I'm always very curious to know what everybody's favorite is, because we all taste wine differently and love wine differently, and it was a very interesting experiment this last year, and this year I think with a new vineyard and the same experiment, I think it'll be even more fantastic. Cheers to all of you.